Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Creator Spotlight. I am Stella, your host, and in this playlist, I invite amazing guests who embraced their own path, their own selves, and now are on a mission to serve the world from this place. Today, I have here with me Desiree. She is an energy therapist, a hypnotherapist, a regression guide, a shaman, and she does a lot of work like breath work, quantum healing, and so much more. And on top of all of these amazing things, she lives in such a beautiful place in Finland, and I cannot wait for her to tell us everything about it. Hi, Desiree. Welcome to this
Hi.
episode.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here. And I know that your journey is such a beautiful one in the sense that you always chose to listen to your own inner guidance, despite our human logic telling us, oh, you should do this or you should do that. You always chose to listen to who you truly are. And let me ask you this, what originally drew you to this path of healing and spiritual work? Was there a particular moment in your life
No.
that made you feel like that's it, that's for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was around 32 when I was approaching my third burnout. And I had this friend, this was a yoga teacher, and she said, you should go to the healing center. And I really don't like if people tell me what to do. So that was my first, like, what do you mean, healing center? But I thought, well, okay, let's just give it a shot. I think the next day I went there and I was waiting because I was not the only one wanting a healing. And you could choose between a healing and reading. And I didn't know what I was getting into. So I just started reading the prospectus, the flyers that they had there. And I thought, wow, is this really a thing? People can do that? Really? So there was this beautiful woman. Her name was Kitty. You never forget persons like that. And instead of, because I was going for a healing because it was cheaper, but she gave me a reading anyway because she said to me, I feel like you're on the verge of choosing something completely different in your life. And I was a teacher. Um, and she said, can you tell me about that? And I said, I really don't know what you're talking about. She said, but you were just reading these flyers and I saw all this energy around you going like, whoa, whoa. And I said, yeah, but yeah. I just, I didn't know what to say to her. And then she told me, I can see a little bit in your future. And I think this is really something you should be doing. So after my reading and healing, I really felt better. And I called the teacher and said, listen, what can you tell me about this? What can you tell me about this course, this training? Is it something for me? And he said, of course, it's something for you. You just come on. We just had the day that what's it called? Open in Dutch, it's open day. So you can't visit us anymore, but just I think you should just register and come. So I did. And the first lesson we were with like 20 people, and as soon as I came in, I started crying
Wow.
crying, crying, crying. Didn't know. I just only entered the room, and I thought, yeah, this is it. And we started with the conscious mind training. Was it called? I think. So first you go into meditation, self healing, and then I took another course of healing, and then reading, and then hypnotherapy, and then breath work. I think I've done everything they had on this academy, and it felt like, well, you might recognize that, like coming home.
Mm.
Really, that was the starting point. And then, yeah, this is what I need to do. This is really what I need to do in this life. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
How interesting, because like you said, there are certain people who come in your life and you never forget them, but you also never forget the moment when that happened. And it's the way, the universe's way of inviting us, sending us signs, and
Yeah.
also sending us messages through people, circumstances, and moments like these. And yes, when you mentioned your third burnout, I could totally understand, because I have been through burnouts myself in the past. that this can be like a tipping point, uh, what would you want to tell to someone who is maybe going through a burnout at this point in time? Maybe someone who's listening to this video and thinking, well, actually, maybe I am at my third or first
Yeah,
burnout.
yeah. Wow, that's a good question. Um, when I started my education to being a hypnotherapist, I had to take my exams and all that and write theses and stuff like that. And I chose burnout because I think that everybody can, imagine that, oh, you're working too hard and you have less time for yourself and something's happening that's taking all your energy, but it's really very personal.
Mm,
So if your doctor or one of your colleagues saying like, oh, well, maybe you're in a burnout, just listen to them, but take the time and make the effort to look what's going on inside you, not just you have those checklists. Oh, I'm very tired, check. I'm this, I'm overthinking, check. Feeling anxious, check. Oh, that's it, I have a burnout. No, look for someone, a therapist, or whatever, a healer, even it's in regular medicine or alternative, whatever, but find someone who sees who you are, what you need. I had this beautiful client going also in her third burnout, and I said, "Well, okay, but who are you? Who am I talking to?" She said, "Well, I'm a single mom," and everybody's saying, "Yeah, of course you have to do everything by yourself and all that, and that's of course it's tiring, and of course you're having a burnout." And I said, "But way back, I mean, we need to establish if that is actually the problem. Because if you're going to work on that and there's something else behind it, then in 2 months you're going to be in your next burnout." And she said, "Well, yeah, the thing is, um, everybody says that I'm such a strong person." So, yeah,
mm,
that is a lot of pressure, isn't it? Because there is something inside you that says, okay, I actually want to break down in tears right now, but I can't because everybody thinks
mm,
I'm such a strong person. And I said, "Is that something people are telling you all your life?" And she said, "No, they start telling me this when my mom died and then I got a divorce." And everybody say, "Oh, that's okay. You can handle it because you're such a strong person." And she said, "The thing is, I really wanted to break down when my shed was burning down." She was she was in the room, and she looked outside in the garden and saw her shed burning down.
wow.
She said it burned out completely. I said, "Are you listening to what you're saying? It burned out completely." That was the moment for you, for my sweet client, to actually feel like, okay, I want to cry. And you didn't do it. And that's where it started. So we need to do a lot of work. Um,
Mm,
and so important thing is you need to recognize that it's not just work or not just something in your personal life. It's a combination of things and how you handle it. And you need to find someone who sees you, the person that is having trouble, coping with everything that will happening. And then maybe an intuitive a guide or a healer, yeah, could help you out more than, your doctor, I think. Yeah.
absolutely, because when there is a difference between, I'm just going to follow some steps, some boxes to tick.
Yeah.
There's a difference between that and actually someone who has the ability to tune into that very, very fine vibration, very fine energy of like who you are, who is like, what is your soul, what is it about your energy, and combine everything and then feeling into that as well. Because if we go into the traditional medicine, which I'm not saying don't go,
Oh,
absolutely
yeah, let's
don't, but
go
I'm
there.
just,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
talking about the difference. um it, you don't want to be put in a box just by
Uh,
ticking all those boxes, because you don't want to leave feeling empty. You can even do both if that's like something
yeah.
that's giving reassurance. But I totally get what you're saying, because burnout is personal to everyone, and nobody should tell anyone, hey, you should just stop crying like a baby or whatever. And
Yeah,
that's
you've got
so
3 weeks off, and then you will be just fine.
yeah, yeah, and also I think this is something that also comes from a belief system from a very young age as well. When parents are telling kids, and especially boys, I've heard that, oh, stop crying, like you're a boy, like you should be
Yeah,
strong and stuff.
yeah.
Like, and it comes from places where there is a very strong belief system about that. You shouldn't cry, like just stop
Mm.
crying,
Go
stop
on, put your
embarrassing.
shoulders under it. Yeah, there you go. You can do this. You got this. Come on. Yeah,
Yes, or like stop embarrassing yourself, as if like you would embarrass yourself by having an emotional
yeah.
moment with yourself. And I think it's about raising awareness into this, just this world, that it's okay to bring this human part of ourselves as well, and just allow ourselves to be who we are. So I know that you have trained in many modalities, in energy therapy, hypnotherapy, shamanism, and more. So when somebody comes to you, when somebody wants to work with you, how do you know what modality to work with?
Oh,
Or what's your process with that?
oh wow. If someone comes to me, I start with asking if it's okay if I, well, you do those because you have to, those intake forms. But I always ask, would it be okay if I sort of read you? And if they say yes, and they all do, I'm tuning in from a different frequency. So I'm in a reading mode, as I call it, and I hear and see everything they don't say. So then I sort of tell them from, okay, this is what I see, and I start asking questions. And the thing is, I just combine everything I know. It's not like, oh, okay, so this is this, then I need to have a regression session, or I need to do some constellation work, or I'm very fond of the fact that I can work organically, because everything that shows I can work with. So I don't really have like a standard. Okay, so if someone comes with a burnout, I only do a reading. I just work with whatever I see, and sometimes ask some colleagues to help me out there. Um, but I usually just go from reading to healing to reincarnation sessions, and then as a constellation to a rebirthing session. Then we go to do the medicine wheel with our shamanic drum, because my husband is very good at that. So it's like one big flow of things that, it's not like you're going to therapy and you'll be here an hour, and then after that, well, okay, I'm sorry, we have to go. We just, take a day. We'll see where it goes. um so usually it's kind of, well, I think for someone who's looking at it may look a bit chaotic, but I just work from, well, intuition. Just go with it. And if I have a client who is able to be vulnerable and let go of the control, because that's usually the thing, then it's beautiful to work with. Yeah. So that I don't really have a plan. I just go for it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because it's always a co-creation, isn't it? It's not
Of
just a
course.
one-way healing.
No.
Yeah, sometimes, if people have this idea that, well, I'm going to go to a healer or a guide or a reader and they will do the work for me.
Yeah. No.
It,
No. No.
it is definitely a co-creation, and it takes trust. And
Mhm.
I love that you mentioned, if they can allow themselves to be vulnerable enough, I think that's
Mhm.
when the magic happens, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And I actually, I do tell people, listen, I'm just going to help you find your own solution, find your own healing. Um, I'm not taking you by the hand saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, and then you're healed. No, it's you need to do the work, and you don't have to do it alone. I
Mm.
will be with you every step of the way. And there are still people who think like, oh, okay, I'm going to a healer or a therapist, and hi, so you're going to do this for me. No, I'm not. But it's okay, as soon as people think like, oh, but it's doable, because I always, well, no, yeah, I always say, if people are having trouble um, being vulnerable or showing themselves who they really are, I always say, listen, it feels like it's like this big, but in the end, if we talk about it, you can really feel where it is in your body and what frequency or what space it's taking up. It's usually like this big. And this
Mm,
big, even a little child, your inner child, can uh, come up with a solution for struggles this big. It's just because we are always thinking and not connecting with our soul, with always, like trapped in this physical body. We think it's really, 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 really big. But that's the world around us. Just if you look inside, you can see it usually isn't that big. That doesn't make it less a struggle, but
mm,
you might consider that it will be easier for you and you will be the one, it's possible for you yourself to come up with a solution. And then I just guide you through it, but I'm not going to do it for you.
this is the most amazing gift I think that a healer can do for their clients to empower them to find their own solutions, because no one can have a healer next to them 24/7, right?
No.
So everybody has to eventually, if they want to, of course, if that's their desire, everybody has to eventually learn how they operate, how they respond to the things that are happening in their lives. And it's beautiful when through the work that they do as like on their personal and spiritual growth journeys, they can find that within themselves, which is absolutely incredible. And I know that in your journey you have also been guided to nature, and
Yeah.
so now you live in a beautiful place in nature, and that also means outdoor showers and like all of these things that take you back to simplicity. What is it about nature that you find so deeply healing for the soul?
I think connecting with nature and connecting, well, with Mother Nature, and well, we're in a Nordic country, so there are a lot of spirits here. But it's very nourishing just to, I mean, every day I look out of the window and I see this million shades of green. It's impossible to count how many shades of green there are. And it just relaxes me, it soothes me instantly. And there is this, I don't know how you call it. Is it a muscle remembrance or a remembrance from past lives? I've been here before. I know where I need to go. I know that if I sit in my yard, we have these big, big stones from the Ice Age. And if we call it our meditation stone. And if you're on that and you don't have to do anything. It's just like you get in, I don't know, it's a different state. It's a trance immediately. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to start meditate. It's just you sit down and feel and listen what the wind is telling you, and that those are abilities that I don't know, that's something very, very old that I've learned in I don't know which life, but um it's remembrance. It's coming home. It's yeah, it's coming home. That's what.
Mm.
Yeah. I know. I mean, listening to the winds, listening to the trees, connect with trees. I know it sounds all very vaguely, but for me, it's our way of life in this at this point.
Mm. So I know that in your journey, you lived for a lot of years in Netherlands.
Yeah,
Then you
about
decided,
52.
and
Yeah.
then you and your husband decided to move to Finland,
Mm.
to this beautiful natural place. Can you tell us more about your decision to move, and then what kind of things now you do there?
Yeah, the decision to move here was that we were visiting some friends, and I just sold my house. So that's the practical story, of course. So we were able to look around. I didn't think about, okay, so I sold my house, so what are we going to do with the money? I was just thinking very practical things like, oh God, it's a lot of shoes and there's a lot of bags and we can go on holidays and stuff like that. But we were looking out at nature. and said, okay, so we just need to be here. It was a feeling, and we didn't even question ourselves or each other. Said, no, okay, so we need to get a place here. We need to be here. Why are we in Rotterdam? Why? I mean, yes, I have a practice. Yes, I have my clients, and I teach. And my husband was having a job, full-time job, and we're both like, it just doesn't suit us anymore. So first we thought we have a home to go on vacation. And then we said, after I think a year or 2 years, I think we should really go there and live there and give retreats and give therapies and stuff like that. So yeah, we sort of just did. Yeah, it was like we didn't think about it for years or even months. My husband said, "Well, I want to move into 2026," and I said, "Well, it's too late for me."
Mhm.
So that was 2024. I think we've been preparing our big move for about 5 months, and then we just went,
Mhm.
and uh, now we're here for a year, I think now, and it's been, you need some time to land, to decompress, to because every now and then you're still in the stress frequency that we know from the big city. We
Mhm.
went to the market last week. We're like, whoa, that's a lot of people. We're just not used to that anymore. And we're also have been together 24/7 last winter. And so the first time that people are coming over, like, what are you doing here? Look at this. So the two of us, it's so easy. And but it's so nice to work here with people. We had a beautiful day retreat with Finnish women and Dutch women and one Dutch man. And this, it's hard work.
Mm.
Well, but I don't feel it's like it's work. People come and the work is making coffee, making sure you have baked a pie and stuff like that. And then we started with meditation, and we have this big ceremonial tent here, and we went in, and I put on some music, and we had all these stones, all these minerals, and we were just working with the three of us because a friend of mine was here too, and we were just working with the stones, and we were healing and having all this high energy stuff. And there was this woman who came for the first time, and she didn't even know us. We met one day before, like, hi, hi, hi. And she, as soon as she walked into the tent, I saw her face going like, and I said, "Are you, are you afraid? Is not the word, but I can go. Um, are you excited about this, or are you a bit worried?" And she said, "No,
Mhm.
no, I'm okay. I'm okay." That which is typical Finnish, actually. He said, "Oh, okay, so you're okay." But I saw and I felt like, okay, she's not okay. But and she laid down and started the music, and my husband started working on her with the stones. And boo! She started crying. I thought, yes, 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 yes. This is so cool. And but she was so vulnerable, and she just let it go, everything. She said, "I don't know why I'm crying." I said, "That's not important. Just go for it, sweetie." And she goes, "Oh." And I like that. That's not work. That's love,
Yeah.
she was really very relieved, needed a hug, but that's okay, and we did this all together, and it was it was just beautiful. It's not work. It doesn't feel like work at any moment, and I think that is, for me, that's only possible if I live somewhere like here in nature, where I don't have to worry about anything else but nourishing my people. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You said it so amazingly. It's not work, it's love. I think this is perfect because it describes exactly the type of things that you're doing. And to everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video to know how you can connect with Desiree and her husband. Look at their website. Is absolutely incredible where they live and the things that they do, the retreats, the events, and everything else that they do. They work with animals as well. So just make sure you check out the location and their website and everything that they are focusing on and they're putting their heart into as well. So you mentioned this example, and I love that you mentioned it because, yeah, sometimes you don't know what will come out of the stress or the thoughts or like the experiences, and you just burst into tears. I remember when I first started my shamanic journey like a while ago, and I remember at the first circle, I just burst into tears and my whole body like reacted, and I couldn't control it physically because my soul needed to release a lot of stuff. And I just love when people give themselves permission to go into this state.
Yeah.
And it's so magical that you were able to facilitate that space for your client in that moment. And I know that in your events, there is also a lot of silence. Why do you think silence is such an important teacher on the healing journey?
I think silence sort of, um, well, if you're in a place that is quiet, even if we are with a lot of people here, the silence, it sort of urges you to go inside and reflect. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to talk all the time. When we had this retreat the other day, we have Dutch people over, we have Finnish people over, but everything was in English. And I said to them, listen, I'm going to do the meditation and everything, and my husband's going to do the trance journey uh, for the medicine. Will everything will be in English, but it doesn't matter because you don't need any words to understand what we're doing. It's all energy, and silence just gives you the chance to retrieve that, because we all have that. We are all healers, and only in silence you can, also stop the thinking, the overthinking. That's just give it some time. But silence will teach you that you don't need words, so you don't need thoughts, and I love that about it. Yeah.
Because yeah, it's energy. A lot is energy. Everything, I mean, everything is energy. But I mean, in that space where there are also words are just a very small part of it. A lot
Yeah.
of it is like energy. And I always say it's the same as if you would listen to a song in a language that you don't understand, but you feel the vibe, you feel the energy flowing. And so that's what matters the most. So I also know that you do constellations work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh wow. Yeah. I actually had one last week for the first time online, because I usually do it, with people, and I teach a lot in that. But yeah, for instance, when we thought, well, okay, so we started our business and everything's looking good, but we don't get any bookings. So how is that work? And we were like meditating and start all this manifestation stuff, and the universe decided not now. So then we do our own constellations, but not with people, but with minerals, or with the Playmobil puppets, to see, okay, so what's here, what's the blockage. So we put on the table all these little puppets, so me and my husband and the business, and there was something between success and us, and we just, then you put something and you call it the blockage. And if you are you familiar with constellations, but not with people? How do you do it? We call it table constellations.
I'm familiar with how it's done with people. So yeah, I'd
Okay.
love
So
to.
yeah, yeah, but you can also, of course, then do it with little papers, or I don't care, fruit or anything that's in your bag. As soon as you know uh, uh, what, well, for instance, this blockage is, it's important to know what energy is in it, and you can feel that with your middle finger, not your this one, because this one is pointing. If you touch with your middle finger, you can feel the energy. So that's that way it's possible to step into the other energy, but also to step into the blockage. And we felt that we were doing way too much to get this going. And that's very weird because, it's a bit strange to think, okay, so we need to do less to become a success. But the blockage was that we were, what we were talking about earlier, like Facebook, Instagram, the whole stuff. We were doing so much. We were like posting content every day. And that was exactly what was blocking our business from being a success. Um, so in that way, we work with constellation, also with our ancestors. And every time I need information and it doesn't come to me when I'm meditating, I'm actually using constellations. Now,
Thank you so much for explaining that. It is fascinating how, to everyone who's watching, even if this is a short video, but you can see how much experience Desiree has in so many things. And I love how you just bring whatever you feel it's necessary in that moment, and you work with that, and you just allow for the energy to flow through that work in that moment. And thank you so much for doing this work in the world. It's so important. So as we are wrapping up this episode, I'd love to ask you one last question. If there is someone who's watching and they feel to do deeper healing, but they don't know where to start, what would be like the first gentle step that you could advise them? Of course, they can just visit you on that beautiful,
they
beautiful
can.
land in Finland. That's like the best and like the most powerful one. But if they are like, if they are watching this video now and they're thinking, what can I start doing right now? What would you advise them?
I would advise to either find a healer that feels good, just to talk a little bit about it. Like, okay, so what can you do for me? This is my issue. Don't start with regressions and stuff because it's big and the hard way. um, Maybe just a little gentle healing or a personally made gentle self-healing meditation. I do that a lot because I love doing that for people. So you can really, tune into the issue, but not dramatically, just, um, I think the key word here is softness, if that's a word actually, but you know what I mean. So if you can find someone you trust or feels good, whatever it takes for you to feel that's necessary for you to, if you can open up, either by talking or just receiving a healing, even 15 minutes, so you can feel what the change could be. I think that would be a beautiful first step. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Desiree. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being my beautiful guest for this episode. And
Wow, thank you.
thank you to everyone who's watching this episode. If you're new to our channel, please take a moment to subscribe, like this video, let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to check out the description and connect with Desiree and her husband. Thank you, Desiree, for being here today with me.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.